Jim, you built a toy hauler to enjoy your four-wheeling hobby. How is it something you do often? Tell me about your four-wheeling hobby and how that got you to building a toy hauler.
Well, I go out to the sand dunes quite a bit, and I built the awning last year off the side of my trailer, and I have just a regular tent. And the wind is so bad, I decided it's time to do something different. Decided to build my first camper, so got a maker pipe full of fittings. So started figuring out a plan and decided to go with it. That way, I'll haul both of my four-wheelers and also camp out and drop my bed down, my table down, and have everything inside out of the weather.
Because you're out west where there's a lot of public land. It's public land where you go in
Yes.
four-wheeling, the dunes?
Yeah, it's a lot of BLM land. It's called the Kilpecker Stand Dunes. It's outside of Rock Springs, Wyoming. It's a huge area to ride, but not lots of people. So it's pretty nice to go out and camp, but it's windy.
Oh yeah.
So the camper's definitely a real good addition.
Yeah, and just that the build looked like it came out great, and the finished product really, and we were getting pictures as you posted to the community along the way, but it came out great, and it's awesome to hear about how, because we all have hobbies, different interests, and I love the idea of MakerPipe supporting and allowing people to go and support their interests and enjoy their time off, And gosh, I mean, if you were gonna go, have you purchased a toy hauler before, or did you shop for one?
No, I shopped for some that you're looking at 30,000 plus.
Right.
And they don't fit my needs. They're a lot bigger. Everything these days is cheap built. So I decided I'm going to come up with my own plan and make it fit my needs perfect, and it works great. I love it.
Yeah, that's great. So how did MakerPipe end up fitting into this project? Because there's a lot of different ways that you could have built that camping structure on top, but you chose to make it out of Conduit and MakerPipe. Did you know about building with, or did you want to build with Conduit first and then you found MakerPipe, or how did that happen?
No, I've built with steel for a lot of years, and it's a lot more weight to get the same structural strength out of it. You're probably twice as much weight. And then when I found MakerPipe and built my awning off the side of my trailer, I really liked that. All the fittings and connectors are so easy to use. And if you don't like it, you can pull it apart, change it up. And it's a lot simpler to build with than welding. If you make a mistake, and you've got to cut it off, grind it, re-weld it. It's just it was a lot easier.
Yeah.
To build with.
Right. Yeah. Well, I take that as a compliment. Anytime someone that is capable of welding,
Yeah.
chooses and it's not right for every project, right? There's a lot of projects where welding something is the way to go. But if you have the capability to weld like yourself, but you choose to go with a modular option, I think that's always a pretty good compliment. And it just, because a lot of the criticism sometimes we get is like, guys will, puff their chest and say, hey, I can weld, I'll just make it out of steel. But, there's, like you're saying, there's a lot of time invested in welding, and it is a more permanent sort of structure.
Yeah. It's MakerPipe. I like it because anyone can build with it. This is my first camper build, and it's seen a lot of highway miles and off-road miles, and it's holding together great.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
60 plus mile an hour winds.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's great because, as the owner of the company that puts out these connectors, right? I always want people to be safe, and like, you're going down the highway with this box on there, right?
Yep.
And God forbid that took flight, right? Like that's a bad scenario. So folks have to be capable, and they have to be able to pull off the project so that thing doesn't become a sail on the highway and take off.
Yeah, that was a big concern. So it's going to take a lot of time into building it and bolting everything down and making sure it's not going anywhere.
Right. Yeah, and you have some building techniques that we loved seeing and were inspiring to us. I mean, the way that you skinned the frame and made the walls with the insulation and the carpet. I want to talk about that, and we'll get into that in a second, because you
Okay.
came up with some unique ideas for doing that. But also the way you attached it to the trailer, and that goes right into this point, right? The thing has to be attached to the trailer so it doesn't go anywhere.
Yep.
And if I can show a couple of photos, tell me about that, attaching it to the trailer and how that worked out. It's out of angle iron, no?
Yeah, and it's 2-inch by 3-inch angle iron. Then I cut and 45'd all the corners
Mm-hmm.
and welded those together. So I had a solid steel frame. That's bolted to the trailer. Then the pieces that are painted brown, those are
Right here.
steel. Yes, those are 1.25 square tube steel, and then a piece of 1-inch angle iron. I slid it inside, then slid my conduit through there, and that fits really, really snug and tight to the conduit.
Oh,
Then I
right.
welded the 1-inch angle iron onto that, and that's bolted through the angle iron frame and through the floor of my trailer. Then underneath, I have big steel vacuum plates, so it can't pull the bolts through the wood.
Mm-hmm.
It's secured all the way through. I needed to come up with some way to have it secured down really tight and not mess with the structural strength of the EMT bins. That's thinner wall.
Right. Yeah. So you can't see, but I'm taking a look at that photo, the cross section of where you had the rectangular, box tubing, and then the angle iron that filled that gap, so it was tight on there.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, and that looked like a pretty good way to go. And then, so you're really securing the frame in a few sections around it, and it's attaching to the angle iron that you had welded on the trailer.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Then that through the wood that's on the floor wood deck on the trailer. And
Oh,
underneath it has steel vacuum plates that go across the 2x6 decking and the steel frame.
mhm.
That way the bolts can't tear through the wood.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay. Yeah, I can picture that. That's great. Because I think that the way that you did it was a great way. And, there's a lot of different uses for that. I mean, if you're making a toy hauler or a lot of different things, people can kind of replicate that to secure that conduit structure. Because, that's critical. And you don't want the 2-hole straps or the 1-hole straps. That wouldn't be enough to really secure it by any means.
Yeah, it'd be something. There's a lot of force on it if you're doing 75 miles an hour down the highway, the wind's blowing 60.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the headwind, you do the math on that. That's a lot of force, right?
It's a lot. It's been through a lot, and it's held up great.
Well, that's awesome. That's a neat technique. And then you built this maker pipe frame on top of the. Oh, but did you buy the trailer specifically for this, or was this a trailer that you had access to?
It's just a standard heavy duty ATV or UTV trailer anyone can buy. Now I built it on top.
Which adds to the affordability of it. Even if you're buying it new or you're buying it used, that you can get one of those for relatively reasonable price. And then you went and you started building the frame. What was involved with building the frame? Was there a lot of prototyping involved, or did that come pretty easy?
No, that came pretty easy, but I used the little maker pipe pieces, plastic kit that you sell.
Oh, the minis?
Yeah, minis.
Oh,
I
nice.
actually used that because I've been started on this right at the end of December. We're already in snow here, really cold temperatures working out the garage. So I bought the minis and that sat and worked with that a little bit, got my general idea. Then I got my paper and pencil out and went to building my project more in detail. So
Yeah.
I waited.
And you had the slanted roof, so that was a consideration you had to uh, take into account for, right?
Yeah, and that was just for less wind drag and I'm sleeping up front, so you really don't need it's super tall in the front. It's about 5.5 feet in the front and 6.5 feet tall in the back.
Mm,
So you stand up, put your shirt on, whatever, get dressed, and you're not crawling out of a little tent or a little camper.
right. Yep. And then you got plenty of angled bracing there,
Yes.
all the way around. That was great. I thought that was smart, add in the rigidity. And then were you working around the vent in the roof? Was that a consideration from the beginning, or was that something you added later? Because you put a vent in, right?
Yes, I put a roof vent in. And that was all planned into it, the roof vent and windows.
Nice. Well, that starts with a
Now we can
good
get
plan, huh?
plenty of ventilation when you're sleeping at night.
Right. And then you've got a window right into the wood on both sides. You know, the way that you created the walls is something of big interest to me, because we're building, as Maker Pipe has evolved, more and more people have used it for different things, right? And like building a structure that's skinned with walls on the outside is a challenge. I mean, it's easier with, square things, right? When you weld
It is.
box tubing or 2x4s or something like that, you've already got a flat structure to just run a screw into or a nail or something. But I think putting a wall and making a structure, especially one that you're going to live in, like that kind of mimics, building a home or building a trailer, has been um, it's been kind of a mystery, not a lot of people have done it, but it's really curious to me because I have ambitions, making a walled cabin or something like that out of Maker Pipe. So I was really interested to see your method of doing this, and I think it's fantastic. Can
Thank
you
you.
walk us through just your process for making this EMT conduit frame into an actual enclosure?
Yeah, I just decided I wanted to be able to haul both of my four-wheelers when I go. So I decided need to make it big enough to put one four-wheeler in, but yet and back it out, drop my bed down, drop my table down, have room for my table, got a little portable air conditioner, heater, and electrical and everything. It's your full camper pretty much
Mm-hmm.
without getting too big and too heavy. This cuts down a lot of weight by just having a smaller camper that's just for myself.
Yep.
So it was worked out great.
Right.
And I've changed the little portable air conditioner. I've got it going straight out the wall now, and it's got electrical run in, and it sits right back in the corner, out of the way.
Nice.
It's nice when it's really hot.
Yeah. Yeah. And, hitting the essentials. I mean, there's a lot of things in those toy haulers and campers that, are luxuries, quite honestly,
It
right?
is.
But
Yeah.
you've really hit just, what you need to enjoy yourself and have a good time and um, out there in the dunes. That's great.
Not really had just, you know, mattresses and cots and camping gear and everything else. And if you go and buy a brand new toy hauler, then you get everything else and all your rest of your gear is just sitting there collecting dust. So I decided, well, I'm gonna put it to good use what I have and save a big pile of cash. Extras I really don't need, like TVs and microwaves, that kind of stuff in the fancier ones.
Right. Yeah. Wood trim and all this stuff. Right.
Yeah.
There's a couple things that I want to highlight that I plan on using in future builds. And you skinned the outside with was it plywood?
It's happening. Plywood.
Yep. When you do that, instead of just running a screw into a 2x4, you've got to attach that plywood to the exterior of the skin, and that's something I want to highlight because I think you did it in a smart way. Because if you just run through the plywood try to hit the conduit, that's a tough,
It's tough.
right? It's walking. I mean, it's hard enough just to run it into conduit when you're looking at the thing, right? And you don't have the
Yeah.
plywood in the way. And pre-drilling holes to get that done is also an added step, right? And a little bit
Yep.
difficult. So
It's one more place with the screws. The reason I didn't want to use screws or that type of thing, you get a lot of vibration and they start backing out.
mm,
And then you start having problems in more places that you're screwing through the conduits, going to have more weak spots. So,
yeah, and the way that you did it, correct me if I'm off here or misunderstood, but you basically took a large fender washer, like you see here on the outside, and then offset it. Well, yeah, but did you drill from the inside out? That's where,
yeah, inside out. I
oh,
put my one hole strap around the conduit. Then I drilled from the inside out, then popped out, put a bolt with a large fender washer
right.
through the wall, and then secured it with the lock nut on the inside, the one hole strap, and it sucks it up tight so it can't move.
Perfect. Yeah. And see, I even got confused talking through it. So, but I think it's such an efficient way to do it because you put that one hole strap on the inside and then you've got a template. You just drill right there. It's not going to move, right? And then
Yep.
you just go on the outside. You already have that hole. You know exactly where to put your bolt and your fender washer. Tighten it up with it looks like you use nylock nut on
Yep.
the inside.
Yep.
And you got it. And that's, the hardware involved. I mean, one hole straps, fender washers, they're not terribly expensive. I mean, they
No.
probably added up as you went through the whole build, but gosh, I think that's a very efficient way to attach a piece of wood to conduit.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. You were thorough too. I mean, I can see you attached, plenty of points. It looked like every foot and a half or something you had an attachment, something like that. Yeah.
Yes. There's a lot of holes, they can tell you. Well, that's one hole straps that I wanted to build at one time, be able to go down the highway, be safe, everybody's, around you safe, and hold together for years.
Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. And then the insulation, their next step was to insulate it. Is that right?
Yes. I bought the 1 inch pink hardboard insulation. Then
Yeah.
I cut each piece to fit in between, all the rectangles and squares and everything. Then I used liquid nails, fuse it, and it's a caulking glue to attach it to the walls, secure it in there.
Okay. Great. That worked pretty good.
Yeah, that worked great. It holds super tight, and it's on there. It's not coming off.
Yeah. And that's another thing that I plan on using too. Because I mean, the 3/4 inch conduit, it's about an inch thick. So you
Yep.
just fill in that negative space like you would in a building or something with a good insulation board and attach it right to the outer skin. I think that's a fantastic idea.
It worked great, and it helps a lot, especially when it's really hot outside or cold. It's made a better difference, just even with 1 inch insulation.
Yep. How did you come upon that solution? Was that something you saw somewhere or just, you know,
No, just we have more cold temperature here than hot most of the time, so I wanted to have wanted to have it insulated.
yeah, I think that's a great idea. And then next step is to I mean, you could have left it there, certainly, but you carpeted the whole thing to give it that kind of finished look, which I thought was another fantastic idea. Yeah, I mean, how did that go? Pretty easy?
That went really well. I was looking at trying to put paneling or wood, something a little fancier, but you start looking at the weight of everything and attaching it, it's just The carpet was a lot easier. You can clean it easy, a lot less weight. It worked really well.
Yeah. What talk us through the process of putting it up. Once you have the insulation in, how did you get the carpet installed?
Just cut and work each section, then use the same liquid nails, fuse it,
Okay.
silicone.
Yeah.
Just run it all up and down the walls really well. Start on top and work your way to the bottom. And
Okay.
it sticks really quick and fast, and it pulls tight. It works really well.
Oh, nice. And then you've got a metal framed, exterior plywood painted with insulation and a nice interior that's easy to keep up with. That just seems like a really smart way to build this thing. Kudos on that. That's really
Thank you.
And then it looks like some flooring was in order. What do you do for the floor?
Yeah, for the floor, with all the between your planks on your deck, you have all the grooves for the water to drain through. If you have it at, a regular ATV trailer,
Mm-hmm.
and the silicone, each one of those closed, so I didn't have to worry about mice or anything where the water got coming up into it and dust and dirt. So I siliconed everything down on the floor. Then I put the 1-inch paint hardboard insulation, the same as I used on the sides, covered the floor with that. Then 3/8-inch plywood over the top, so you're not smashing the insulation down when you drive your 4-wheeler in.
Right.
And I put two different kinds of padding and indoor-outdoor carpet over the top.
Nice. That's great. I imagine this was your first toy hauler. Yeah.
Yeah, this was my first build on this.
If you built a second one, what would you change about your process?
I don't know if I'd change a lot, really. I like how it came out. We went together pretty well.
Oh, great.
Other than if I decided to build a bigger one, but I think this one fits my needs plenty. So I've got some other plans for maker ply fittings, connectors.
Oh, well, good. When you get down the road with those plans, get in touch with us because we'll help you out with those.
All right.
Because I'd love to see what you build next and how you do it. But yeah, I'm just seeing this awning that you made on the exterior.
Yeah.
With
I used 1-inch EMT on the uprights for a little more strength with the wind that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3/4 inch, I bent the EMT to fit over it. Fits down into the top of the 1-inch uprights. And then the 2 in the center, those had the 1-inch T connectors.
Right.
And then I used one of your plastic inserts that fit over the 3/4 inch conduit.
Okay.
Sit down.
Great. Man, fantastic. You've built a really neat toy hauler, and I love seeing it. It's I hope that other people that want to build a similar structure. I know I'm taking away different techniques, but you've inspired me, and I hope it inspires some more people to build what they're after and make it just what they want, save a little money in the process, and have the satisfaction out of it. I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I think that's what's nice with the Maker Pipe products. And, I look at it and I've got a lot of other plans for different things. There's so many things you can build with with the EMT conduit, and anybody can build with it. It makes it nice. If you don't have welders, you can build basically anything you like.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you found it useful. That's like I said before, that's one of the reasons we're doing it. It's great when we see people build something they need, or they get to, build something that they have a passion for, like getting out into the desert and the sand dunes. So yeah, I think that's great. Anything else, Jim? Any other thing you want to point out about it?
No, I'm just really happy that I found you guys and was able to build what I wanted. And now I'm all set up exactly the way I'd like it. I can cook on the go anytime I'd like to now.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Yeah. Thanks so much. Thanks for the order and thanks for jumping on a call. I hope you have a lot of great trips to the sand dunes and wherever you travel to. I hope it works out great.
It will. Thank you very much.
All right, Jim. Thanks so much.